No.
I think he's muted.
You're live.
We're live now? Okay. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Grazielle's Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission. The time is 7:51, and we're opening up the meeting, and we'll go through the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation,
which it stands,
Under God.
one nation, under God,
Indivisible,
liberty.
liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you for everyone who's in attendance here. We've got Dan, Alan, Rebecca, myself, Brian Friel's manning stuff, and we have, I believe, one person in attendance from the public. So before you should have an agenda. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at the agenda, and is there anything that needs to be added or deleted to the agenda?
I don't.
Since we do not have the township, we do not have Carl with us tonight. Unfortunately, he was not able to make it. He's busy with work functions. We'll scratch the township board liaison report. Is there anything else people would like to add or delete?
No.
Hearing none, get a motion. Sorry, what was that?
I was wondering if you wanted to talk about bike lights, but we can do that at next meeting.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so with that, move ahead.
I make a motion to accept
with the agenda. You're gonna get a motion to approve it? Yeah, yeah, we can go. So I guess all in favor of the agenda? Aye.
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 All right, we'll move on to the minutes. So you should have a copy of the minutes from the last meeting, fairly succinct for folks at home. If you go on to the meetings portal on the Grazielle website, you should be able to download a copy yourselves. So it's fairly succinct over there. Just mentions the different updates that we gave last time. As a reminder, there was no actions last meeting. There will be no actions this meeting. Is there any questions about the meeting minutes?
None.
Becca, Alan?
No, I'm good.
Hearing none, make a motion to.
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
Can you get a second?
I second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Thanks to Christine for putting this together, and I hope she's enjoying her vacation. Next item on the agenda would be public comment. So I know we do have a representative from the public over here, Ari Fields, I believe it is. Ari, would you like to introduce yourselves, and are you interested in talking at this time?
No, we're actually just listening in tonight.
Welcome, Harry.
Thank you. It's Bill. Ari is my wife.
Oh, welcome, Bill and Eric.
Thank you. Speak over here.
Glad to have you here. So next item on the agenda is just an update on the budget, our actual balances. So for folks at home and commissioners as well, as we do have an ongoing bike path maintenance millage. And so that accrues funding every year. And so the last time we talked about this, I believe it was back in September of last year, where we talked about doing some of the maintenance that we'll be talking about fairly shortly. But the balance still stands the way it was last year, that we have $250,000 from past years, as well as we have an additional $95,000 that was given to us at our the December millage, the December tax bill. So we are
345,000.
Yes. So talking to Ann Darzniak, there has been no projects, nothing to reduce the balance as of right now. So that's the budget. Hopefully we'll be able to do some good projects moving forward. Any questions? Hearing
don't.
none.
No question.
Hearing none, I'll move on to bike path maintenance. Again, a very quick update, just to let you know that we're monitoring the status of that. So as mentioned in September of last year, we did recommend to the township board that they award a contract in order to do asphalt maintenance of our entire bike path system. And so that's going through and providing seal coats as well as crack sealing in certain sections where that would be the best practice in order to preserve the pavement life. And then other areas doing partial depth or full depth repairs in order to basically bring the bike path system back into good or fair condition. So that contract was awarded last year, but unfortunately with the weather being turning to wintry conditions fairly quickly within late October, early November, the contractor asked if he would be able to do the work in the following year. So with COVID and everything going on, that project was delayed, but they are on island now. But they're also were awarded work to do with the Department of Public Services, DPS. And so they're finishing up that work right now. And after they finish that up, then they will be moving forward with the bike path work. So I will continue to get updates from Sahil at CE Rains, who is managing the project for us. And I'll let you know when I hear otherwise. But as of right now, nothing has been done as far as asphalt maintenance. Questions, comments?
Brian, I do have one other thing, even though it's not on the agenda. This may be a good opportunity to do a little maintenance on our Grow Road drinking fountain. We wanted to do some landscaping there, maybe reset some bricks. And maybe later in the fall, when the weather cools down, we can organize a day where several of us and maybe other volunteers could assemble there and try to clean that up and landscape it a little bit and get it ready for next year. I know the drinking fountain probably won't go in this season, but it may be a great opportunity for us to get in there and get the work done before it comes back.
A good idea. Maybe we can reach out to the Beautification Commission to see if they're interested in helping with that.
Okay, maybe we could plan that for mid-September. Some date that would be more conducive to cooler weather.
Sounds good. It's a good project to be working on. Thanks for the suggestion. Okay, moving ahead. At last meeting, we talked a little bit about Meridian bike path.
Yes, we did.
Especially at Ferry Road. So we had members of the public talking about the safety and how it's hard to actually get a gap in traffic in order to cross the road. So at the time I had mentioned that we would talk with other folks on Grazielle as far as the township manager as well as police chief and try and figure out both short-term and long-term issues with that. So I talked with Dale Ream first of all, and he was interested in potentially looking systemically at all other crossings in the future and potentially applying for a grant or something in order to make more protected crossings of the bike paths where you're going across a major road. But he and I both agreed that, hey, that takes a while. That might be a year or two before that happens. So we were asking, what could we do in the short term in order to try and increase awareness of the crossings? So he was able to talk with the police chief, and the police chief ordered some new lights that will be mounted. Two small yellow lights will be mounted on each of the pedestrian crossing signs at the Meridian and Ferry crosswalk. So there'll be a total of 4 lights, 2 on each sign. And apparently those will be going off, night and day. It's not activated like when someone is trying to cross the road, but it will make the crossing more conspicuous. So that way people will understand that, again, hey, this is a pedestrian crossing to be looking out for folks. So it was relatively cheap in order to do that. So we'll see how that goes and monitor it. And if there's something else that's needed, we'll see what we can do. But I'm happy to report that at least we do have, an action that was done, and hopefully it will increase safety at that crossing. So any questions, comments?
The only comment I have is, again, I saw some kids this week darting out. Brian, we got to do something. Somebody's going to get hurt at that ferry crossing because you're coming around that curve from Macomb Street towards Ferry, and they don't see those kids darting out. We got to do something.
Yeah. So we're going to make contact with Wayne County and see about putting in a full signal at that location, because it's not while it's an issue for people walking or biking, I've noticed it's an issue for people driving along that road too. If they're trying to turn left from Ferry onto Meridian Road, they're having a hard time getting a gap, and there's been near misses from a crashing.
Are those blinking yellow lights
Vehicle
supposed
standpoint,
to
too. So,
encourage drivers to stop for pedestrians crossing?
is the yellow light supposed to encourage people to stop? I'd say it make them more aware of what's going
It's
on.
a caution more than of anything else. Yeah,
So,
I think you're right. Especially, I've never turned left off a ferry because I'm never on ferry, but I could see that being an issue. I remember when I first moved to the island, the only traffic light was at Four Corners. That's how long I've been here, off and on.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of it's exacerbated.
What was that, Alan?
I said that's because mostly there were horses.
Oh, thank you, Martin. You got me. You were here too, buddy.
I know. That's why I can joke like that.
But I think it's a good idea to have something there at Ferry. I really do.
The buses. I know these lights aren't like everything that people are looking for. It's not going to make traffic stop, but it is a step in the right direction, and we can see how to move forward from there. So hopefully we'll have more to report moving forward.
Okay. Next
item on the agenda is the Grazielle Free Bridge. So as folks know, the Free Bridge is closed. As part of that, they're going to be working on both the piers, but eventually they'll be working on the deck itself. And so I've been working with the township manager, with Derek Thiel, as well as Supervisor Loftus, to try and appeal to Wayne County to make sure that the transitions between the sidewalk on the Free Bridge has more safety and more enhanced mobility between those sidewalks and the wide paved shoulders or the sidewalks that are along the road itself. So specifically looking on the south side as far as increasing that, since there is a sidewalk that wraps up from the West River connector along Grazielle Parkway over there, and making sure that transition is good. But also on the north side, because we've seen people walking and biking on both sides of the road. So we're hoping to hear back from Wayne County on that. Derek Thiel is taking the lead on that. He has a meeting with Wayne County on another issue, so he'll touch base to find out what they can do. But my hope is that they'll be able to at least make those surfaces level and free of any objects, so that way it's easy for someone to walk or bike from the road up onto those sidewalks. Related to that, I want to move on to the Parkway Connector. So again, this would be a project of trying to figure out how the best way to connect from the Free Bridge to our Meridian bike path, as well as working in concert with the city of Trenton to connect from the Free Bridge to Jefferson Avenue. So there hasn't been that much work on the Grazielle side as of late, but last week I was contacted by Jeff Smith of PEA Engineering, and he was awarded a contract with the Downriver Link Greenways on the Iron Bell Trail gap assessments with a charge of finding all the gaps within the system and then being able to develop engineering drawings so that way everything would be spec'd out so you can apply for projects and get those gaps filled. So he was working under a previous document where we were still looking at the Douglas Road option as far as connecting on the north side of Parkway. So I was able to inform him that that's not the preferred alternative at this time. So he would like our input on where we possibly stand as far as this connector, because this is an opportunity, basically free money, for us to be able to come up with engineering level drawings for a preferred alternative. So I'm hoping that between us on BPAC, as well as township officials, and then with a limited public outreach, that we could find preferred alternatives, so that way we could do this, and either being what we've talked about before about something along Bellevue and wrapping up either West River Road or cutting through the golf courses and connecting over to Grazielle Parkway and connecting to the bridge that way, or some sort of facility along Grazielle Parkway itself. Talking with Jeff Smith, he had mentioned that from his perspective on the Trenton side, it'll actually be more cost effective to run on the north side of the road, because although there is terrain issues within the section closer to Jefferson, where you might need to do some boardwalk or some retaining walls, he said that would be cheaper than putting in a new shared use path bridge over the canal, which you would need on the south side of the road. So it's a little bit more expensive.
I forgot about the canal over there.
Yeah. So I asked him, and I'll find out more, because I was thinking that you could use a prefab, modular bridge, because it's a smaller crossing over there, rather than doing something stick built, and hopefully that would save on some costs. But I have not heard back from him yet. But he did mention that there's positives and negatives to both sides of the road over there, and so he mentioned that pretty much what we decide on Grazielle will probably make more, be the deciding factor on what side of the road to do the path in the Trenton side. So I don't think we need to discuss the details, here at the meeting tonight, but it would be good for us to, talk a little bit more about this and, work with other officials to try and, streamline this, because he would like to wrap up the project by, I believe, middle of September. So I think it's either use it or lose it as far as engineering, or if we need more time to figure out exactly what route, maybe some of this, you could use some of those funds in order to do more of the initial scoping for a project. But again, I think time is of the essence, and that we should probably try and figure out how to move forward with this project that we've been kind of treading water on for the last year.
Have you set anything up with the township officials yet?
I did let them know. I'll be talking to township officials about other projects, so I can pick their brain at that time too.
Good point.
So, questions, comments, ideas? Hearing none, move on. So related to that, the other thing I'll be talking to the township about is the East River Connector, or the Wildlife Refuge Connector. So again, we're looking at the possibility of utilizing an existing service road along the airport property on the east side of the airport, parallel to East River Road. So currently this service road is fenced in, and so it just serves to for airport service vehicles to make their rounds, to do security and access different parts of the airport, but it's very minimally used. So there's been talk for some number of years about possibly utilizing that road as a more primitive or upgraded path that would connect from our existing bike path on Grow Road, parallel with East River Road and terminating at the wildlife refuge. There's currently an access door at the wildlife refuge property. So essentially, at the very most crude level, we move a fence, and we have a primitive path. That being said, the CE Reigns has some concerns about doing just the lightest, quickest, cheapest option for that. And so I'm planning to talk with Sahil as well as the township manager, as well as the airport manager, to see what is the best solution. Because the way the CE Reigns scoped out the project, it was going to be around $800,000 in order to do. And so, if we can get by and do it much cheaper, $100,000 for moving a fence, I'd prefer to go that way and then be able to upgrade this over time, especially since we do have other connections that we'd like to make, like the, the connection to the Free Bridge and to the water's edge.
I agree.
So that's tentatively set for next Thursday. So talk to them and learn a little bit more, and I'll be able to report back either at next month's meeting, or we can have a subcommittee meeting in the meantime in order to work on these projects.
Where's that meeting at, Brian?
That will be at Township Hall, to my understanding.
Okay.
I'm lobbying for a Zoom meeting or outside, due to COVID concerns, but we shall see how that goes. So 2 items left on the agenda. First one is about walk bike to school days. So we mentioned this in the past, that these are events that we do each year. We've been more successful usually with the one that happens in May, but we also have one that happens in October. So just want to make mention that we should be working with the schools to figure out is this something that we should be moving forward on, reaching out to the Michigan Fitness Foundation or others to find out what other school districts are doing, and how can you encourage safe walking and biking, especially during the time of COVID, and keeping those distances, because things that we've done in the past or encouraged in the past about walking school buses or bicycle trains or basically group activity would be discouraged. So I'm sure that some of the folks on this commission will be looking into that. But is there anything that anyone has to report about walk to school day or bike to school day, any activity that's happened?
I don't have anything to report, but I will start looking into that.
Thank you, Rebecca. Last item is bicycle skills course. So again, this is something that we've been planning, but kind of fell through multiple times. So I wanted to see, is there interest, and would we want to do something either in the fall, or is there a way that we can do something remotely, possibly, as far as educating people?
Is there any way they could do like a Zoom type thing, Brian?
That was the idea, that maybe we could do a Zoom course. Maybe if it's maybe that we can do that just locally, utilizing people that do take police chiefs or other public figures in order to help teach some of this content, and maybe make it quick, or maybe we can create a video or something to personalize it and say, hey, what should you do when you're crossing Ferry Road, or something to that effect. But I'm thinking that we need to get a little outside the box, since we're probably not going to be encouraging a lot of in-person schooling.
I think you broke up.
Sorry about that. I was just saying that I think we should be thinking outside the box on what to do in order to get the content out. Because Dan, as you said, there's people that are crossing in unsafe conditions, and if there's ways that we can teach them about best practices, especially by applying it locally, saying what do you do when you're crossing Ferry Road, or what should you be looking out for when you're crossing Macomb Street along the path. That might be a good situation, and maybe it's not even a Zoom thing, but maybe it's a series of videos that we can put online.
I like it.
We give them a quiz to take, and if they pass it, they get a light.
I got plenty of those.
That would be great. I think
I
technology
think
gives
even
us
if they fail it, we give them a light.
I give them a light of whatever.
So that ends the official BPAC updates. I was wondering if there's, Dan, if you'd like to mention anything about open space, specifically. Do you have anything going on about the ferry trail?
The last meeting we had, I think, was 2 months ago, and it was still wet, and they were looking to start working on it as soon as things dried out. We did not have a meeting last month, so I have nothing to report on what's going on that trail.
Gotcha.
And we are looking into possibly having a dump your junk in the fall. We're looking at September. I can't elaborate any more than that because it hasn't been approved. Still trying to put all the numbers together. But I know there's a real big concern of the residents that they've been home working on their projects and they want to dump your junk. And that's how I got the call from the township.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Is there anything else that anyone would like to talk about before closing out this meeting?
You have anything to report, Brian?
I don't have. No, I don't have much to report. I'll just say that working with the township officials, we'll figure out how to fast track some of these projects. So with that, can I get a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 This meeting's closed at 8:18 p.m. Eastern Time. Everyone walk, bike, drive safe.
Hey, Brian.
Thank you. Good night.
Night. Hey,